So welcome to Selenium webinar, and as was mentioned, this is going to be the last webinar of this particular topic, this course, Java Development and Testing Tools. So let's move on to Selenium. So we'll talk about what Selenium is, and then we'll take a look at some of the tool set that make up Selenium tool suite. So we're going to mainly focus on Selenium IDE, which is basically the coding and replaying tool. But Selenium has other set of tools, so we're going to look into at least from conceptual perspective. First of all, let's talk about why we want to do test automation. I mean, this is such obvious reasons, so nothing much to talk about. So frequent regression testing is possible, and developers will get the rapid feedback when something didn't work. And you can actually try test case execution as many times as you want in automatic fashion. You can say, I want to run this one 1,000 times. Sometimes you want to do it for load testing purpose, and it supports agile and extreme development methodologies. Mainly automatic testing is actually one of the important aspects of the agile development methodologies, and disciplined documentation of test cases. So again, test-driven development is emphasizing that you actually write test cases first, and then you're going to write business logic after that. So basically thinking about test automation upfront make you actually move on into the more inclined to actually do a test-driven development. And finding defects missed by manual testing, again, that's very obvious. So what is Selenium? So it's a portable software testing framework mainly for web applications. And Selenium IDE provides a record and playback tool for authoring tests without actually writing any testing scripting languages. Basically, it will capture whatever you do on a web browser, and it will in fact create a testing scripting language behind the scenes so that you can run that testing scripting language based testing suite later on. It also provides test domain specific languages called the Selenis, and for writing tests. So you are going to actually capture your recording of the browser interactions, but behind the scene it will generate this Selenium testing script. This testing script could be actually written in different languages as well, and so that could be actually useful. And Selenium deploys on Windows, Linux, and Macintosh platforms. It supports all major platforms. So Selenium is basically a set of different software tools, and each of those will actually let you do different things. Okay, and one of the primary tools is the Selenium IDE, as we talked about in the previous slide, that lets you do record and playback. So the entire suite of tools result in rich set of testing functions, again, for testing web application of all types. And these operations are highly flexible, allowing many options for locating UI elements and comparing expected test result against actual application behavior. So we're going to actually see this one in the hands-on lab and the demo. Basically, you are going to select some UI elements that are displayed on a page, and then you can right-click it, and you can actually select many different Selenium options for testing purposes. And Selenium's key feature is to support the single test against multiple browser platforms. Again, this has been very, very important aspect for writing web applications, because in many cases, different browsers behave differently, so you want to actually test against many browsers, and Selenium has been a great tool for testing your applications against many browsers. So these are the Selenium test suite. So again, Selenium IDE, and so we're going to actually look into each of these tools in a bit more detail in the following slide. So let's talk about Selenium IDE first. So it's a plugin for Firefox browser, and again it lets you record, and you can in fact change the recorded script, so it lets you do some editing, and then you can actually run it for run the test, and you can also actually do some debugging as well on the test itself. Okay. So this Selenium IDE is sometimes called the Selenium Recorder because it lets you again record and playback, okay? And it will let you know if something failed, and if it is successful, it will actually let you know that as well. So scripts may be automatically recorded and edited manually, providing auto-completion support and ability to move commands more quickly. So, basically once you, let me actually show you the tool. So I'm going to actually try this one hands-on lab, but I just want to show you the tool first. Okay. So this is a Selenium IDE, what it looks like. Okay. And we'll like to play around this one after the presentation. Okay, so scripts are recorded in Selenium, a special testing scripting language, and so basically, these are set of commands that you can actually execute for testing. It contains a context menu that lets you first select the UI element from the browser. So basically, once you are doing, when you actually do some interaction with the browser, you can select any UI component, and once you right-click it, and then Selenium will give you many different, the options to choose. Okay, so that's basically what it's talking about. ID features, so you can let you do record and playback, and intelligent field selection with use IDs, names, and XPath as needed. So sometimes what you want to do is that, when you do some interaction, you want to see a particular element to be in a particular location. So that location could be represented in XPath notation. Autocomplete for all common Selenium commands. Walk through the test, basically running the test, and you can debug and set breakpoints. And save test as Selenium, Ruby script, and other formats, and support Selenium user extensions JS file, and option to automatically assert the title of every page. Alright, so I'm going to just move on to talk about other Selenium test tool suite components, and then we're going to actually do hands-on lab. Okay, and the hands-on lab is again mostly focused on the Selenium IDE, recording and playback. So Selenium client API. So as an alternative to writing tests in Selenium, tests can also be written in different languages. You can actually choose. So what you're gonna actually use when you record is mainly in Selenium, but you can actually write this testing scripting language in different languages as well. Right. In Selenium 2, new client API was introduced with the WebDriver is central component. We'll talk about WebDriver in a few minutes. Okay, but the old APIs are still supported. So Selenium RC, what is called the remote control, this is sometimes called the Selenium 1, is deprecated in favor of Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so we'll talk about Selenium WebDriver in the following slide. So this is the old version of the Selenium WebDriver. So this is called the Selenium 1, and Selenium WebDriver is called the Selenium 2. Okay. So basically, it's a server written in Java. It accepts the commands from the browser via HTTP. So basically, it will actually make it possible to write automated tests for web application in any programming language, and then it allows for better integration with the Selenium and existing unit testing frameworks. So I wish I have actually a picture on this one. So basically, it is a server that receives some commands from the browser, and then it will actually, execute the test. So Selenium WebDriver is a successor of Selenium Remote Control. So it's called sometimes Selenium 2 because it's the next generation version of Selenium Remote Control. And again, it accepts commands. It works pretty much the same as Remote Control. So it accept commands either in Selenium or client API, and then send them to the browser for testing. So it is implemented through the browser-specific browser driver, and which sends commands to browser and retrieves results. So basically, this is the way that it can handle the testing for different browsers. So it actually uses a browser-specific browser driver internally. And most browser drivers actually launch and access a browser application. So basically, internally, it will actually create a browser itself, and then it will actually test it. Okay. So WebDriver, this is a difference. Unlike Selenium 1, where Selenium RC server is necessary to run the test. So in the remote control case, you have to have a server. Basically, it's actually running its own like a JD server kind of things. WebDriver does not need a special server to execute test. Okay, so instead, it will actually start the browser instance itself. So there is no intermediary server when you're using WebDriver, as in the case of remote controller. So the Selenium remote controller is you need basically this is actually web application that is running on its own server. However, when you're using WebDriver, you don't need to have that intermediary server. Okay, there is actually what is called the Selenium grid. That is basically when you are trying to actually run your testing in kind of distributed environment. This is the way that you can actually use a Selenium grid. It's a server that allows tests to use a web browser instances running on multiple different machines. Okay? So with the Selenium grid, one server acts as a hub, and then tests contact the hub to obtain the access to browser instances. And then the hub has a list of servers that provide access to browser instances and let the test use these instances. So basically different, let's say, machines can actually run multiple test cases. So Selenium grid allows you to run tests in parallel on multiple machines and to manage different browser versions and browser configuration centrally instead of each individual test. So, if you're writing a web application and then you need to actually go through many different versions of many different types of browsers, and Selenium grid could be actually a great tool to actually test these things in parallel. So you can actually run the test in a shorter period of time. Alright, so that is the end of the presentation. So let's actually move on to the hands-on lab. Okay, so first you're going to install. So by the way, Selenium ID is a Firefox plugin, so you're going to use the Firefox. So you're going to actually go to this Firefox, the Selenium download website, and you're going to download this one. Okay, and then you're going to actually install it. Okay, so since I install it, then I'm going to just use the hands-on lab. Okay, so you're going to install the you're going to allow the installation. And then you're going to install it, and then you're going to enable it. So these are the things that you can install it. So you can see Selenium IDE. The 1.8.0 is the latest version, which I just installed this morning. So you install the IDE, and then you can actually provide different formatters. So here I installed the Java version of it. Okay, and then you're going to restart your Firefox browser. And once you restart the Firefox browser, then you should see Selenium IDE under a Tools menu. Okay, and when you run it, that is what you're actually seeing, this one. So you're going to actually see this Selenium IDE running like this. Okay. All right, moving forward. Now we are going to actually do very simple recording and replay. Okay. So we are going to start the recording. So the way that you can see whether recording mode is on or not is that if you move your mouse over, hover your mouse over this red dot, it will say now recording. Click to stop recording. So you just click this button to start the recording and stop the recording. And then you're going to actually perform. So when it's actually recording, you can actually perform whatever interactions with your browser in this Firefox browser, and that anything that you do will be recorded. Okay, so this time you're going to actually go to dice.com and then do some interactions. Okay, so we now don't have any, well, actually we captured a couple of things. Okay, so now we are going to actually do some interactions. So we are going to go dice.com. and then we're gonna search some jobs, maybe Java, and I will say Boston MA, and then find jobs. Okay, so this is the result when you perform the find tech jobs in Boston area. Now if you actually see what has been captured, whatever you typed in, whatever interaction you have done has been captured. Okay, so basically I typed in that free text ID, that field is ID is free text. I type Java, and I type Boston MA on where ID, and then I click search and submit. Okay, now what I can do at this point is I can select any UI on this result, and then I right click it, and you can see some of the things that you can select. These are basically from Selenium. Okay, and you can actually, I mean, this is just a subset of the subset of Selenium things, Selenium, the actions you can perform. And if you want to see all the command available, the commands, then you can actually select show all available commands, and you can select any of these. These are all possible things you can do. So you can actually wait for something, you can assert. So we are going to actually assert text present Java. That means we're going to actually try this one first, current search, because that's how we actually documented it. So I'm going to select assert text present current search, meaning the result has to have this current search text in this page. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. Okay, what it means is when I'm running this, when I reply this test, there has to be some text called current search on the page. So that is, what is this? Assert text present. Okay, all right, so let's see what we yes, okay, so we did that. So this time we're gonna actually do another thing. So we're gonna say Selenium testing, and again find test jobs. Okay, now this time what we want to do is you want to select any of this field, and we want to make sure that result of this text, maybe what testing or Selenium Java, in this case Selenium, has to be under this particular location. So I'm going to select, right click it here, and now I can select this one, assert text, and this is XPath notation of this Selenium. So if you actually see the source code of this particular page, and you are going to well, not source code, but if you're using some kind of XPath tool, then you can actually select this one in the source code. In fact, you can actually see this is the XPath notation of the Selenium, meaning I want to test that this Selenium text string is on this particular location that is specified in this XPath. So I select this one. Now you can see it is it is selected here as well. Okay. All right, now what we can do at this point is we can stop the recording, okay, and then we are going to play the current test case. Okay, so now you can see things actually being changed behind the scene. So let me run it again. Oh, let's actually try. Well, because this happens really fast, you probably don't see it. So we're gonna actually move this one to slow, okay, and then let's see. I just saved it. Save the test case. We're gonna save the test case in some places. Let's just save it. Test one. I'm gonna just save it one more time. Okay. Test. And then I can actually do this test, and you can see it's actually being changed. Okay. Okay, so okay, it's actually doing a click wait. The reason is that this it's actually waiting this one, so I have to actually start something. Yeah, let me just start from the beginning. Okay, yeah, because it's actually waiting period, and I was actually looking for this. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna just we're gonna just start the let's see, click record. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go to dice.com. We'll try again because I accidentally recorded that waiting period that I have. Okay, so now I'm going to new test case. Okay, and then click to record. Okay, now I'm going to say Java and Boston. Okay, find search. And we're gonna do test assert text, this one, but we'll try this one, and then we'll do another testing like Selenium testing, and then what we're gonna do is for this Selenium we want to have that in a particular location, so we're gonna select this. Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much what I have. So we're gonna actually, stop the recording, and then you can run this test, okay? And then you can see things actually being changed behind the scene, okay? Okay, so you can see things actually being tested right now, right? So whenever tests succeed, you can see this dark green, okay? So we have two assert cases, and they have succeeded. Okay, so let me try one more time. So you can actually move this guy fast and slow. Okay, so I'm actually doing some kind of medium slow. So let me try again. Okay, so we're gonna actually start from typing Java. Okay, we go to dice.com, then we're gonna type Java, and then we're gonna actually type do the search, and then we are going to search again with the Java test, Selenium testing, and then we make sure that the Selenium is actually on a particular location. Okay, so you can see the test has all succeeded. Okay, now if you want to actually change this one to, let's say you can actually change this one to, let's say Java 2 or something like that. Okay, how can I change this? Oh, here you change. We're gonna just make the failure case. We're gonna say the Java 2. Okay. And then if you run this one, and it will fail because there is no Java 2. Okay, so there is an error here. Okay, it was looking for Java 2, but it didn't find it. Okay, and let's see. So we're going to change it back to Java. And then we are going to actually try this one. So we're going to actually test these cases. Again, we'll actually say just failure case. So we are looking for in the third position. Okay. And again, if you try to run it, so we'll start from the beginning. The first case should succeed. Okay, because it now has a Java, but the Selenium location is incorrect, so it will fail. So that's what you see, it failed. So it doesn't actual value testing did not match Selenium. So basically the location was wrong, okay, because we changed the location. So if you change it back again, change it back again, and then run it, then it should succeed. Okay, so it's succeeding now. Okay, so moving forward, so we're gonna just stop recording. Oh, so we stopped already. Okay, So let's move on to so we did this. Now we're gonna actually try with the pet clinic. So here, we are running pet clinic application, and then we're gonna do find owner. So again, we're gonna do recording of find owner, and in this case, it's actually add owner validation. Find owner, and so we're gonna add owner. So when it actually when it returned, we want to make sure that there is in fact add owner the text. So what you're going to do is we're going to select a third text present add owner, and verify we in fact have that in the Selenium recording table. By the way, you can actually see references, and it will give you some help. Okay, so whenever you are not really sure what this means, you can take a look at the reference, and it will give you some information how to use it. So we're going to click add owner, okay, and then we'll have a new owner page, right? And then you're going to click add owner. Now if I click add owner without entering anything into this text fields, it will fail. Okay, so the failure is this message is required, meaning all these text fields have not been entered. Okay, so we want to actually make sure this error message gets displayed. So we right click it, and again you can select a third text. First name dot errors is required. Okay, so basically that message is supposed to be displayed when error condition occurs. And then you are going to enter some valid values, and this time all the other fields are actually valid except this telephone number. So we are entering ABC instead of the number. And then if you try to add owner, again we are going to actually see some validation error message indicating must be all numeric. So we're going to select this one as well. Alright, so now we stop the recording, and then again you can actually save the test case, and then you can actually run it. Okay, so I'm going to just open the test case, and I'm going to open the test case, and then just run it. Okay, I don't want to save the current one, and the test case was add owner validation. Okay, alright, so I'm going to just run this guy. And you can see behind the scene it's actually doing all the things that we have recorded. So validation error message is there, then we entered all these values, and then ABC, and then when I click add owner, must be all numeric is displayed. So it's add owner validation. Okay. And the second one is add or the new add or delete the new the pad. Okay. So basically you're going to select the owner George and add new pet, and so add new pet, and you enter these values, and then basically make sure the result has doggy, and then edit pet, and you can delete pet. Okay, and then you stop the recording and then test it. And the last one is you are going to save all this. This is actually the test cases, and you can save these things in the test suite. Okay, so now I'm going to save those two test cases as save as test suite. Okay, and then I'm going to name it as a Pet Clinic Test Suite 1, and then you can run the complete the entire test suite. Okay, apparently there was actually a bug, so I'm receiving some errors. Okay, so let me just open it. So this is in fact the why you want to write the test cases. Somehow things things broke. Okay, so when I tried this one, and it actually runs a little bit, and then when try to add a pet to Yeah, so somehow the logic of converting this date is broken. Okay, so this is in fact why you want to actually run these test cases. So I have to actually look at why this is actually broken in the pet clinic code. Okay, and again, here I'm gonna just open the test suite that contains these two test cases. That's this pet clinic test suite. Okay, and then I'm gonna run that test suite, and again, it will do this. It will do the owner validation, and then add or delete test case, and again, it will fail. But get the sense of how to create a test suite from multiple test cases. Okay. All right, so that is the end of today's presentation, and homework is basically you're going to add another test case to this test suite, okay, as described in the lab documentation. You have to actually figure out why that error is occurring. Yeah, so homework exercise is to add visit test case to the test suite. Okay. All right, so that is the end of the presentation.